So, as you all know, the WGA and SAG-AFTRA have been striking in Hollywood for the last couple of months. But, folks, what if I told you that SAG-AFTRA is going to strike again? SAG-AFTRA seeks approval for second strike against video game companies. With one strike already underway, SAG-AFTRA announced Friday that it will seek authorization for a second strike against the major video game companies. Admiral Paga says, we had one strike, yes, but what about second strike? The union said that talks on a new video game contract have reached a stalemate and that the strike authorization vote is needed as leverage to win wage increases and protection from artificial intelligence. Yeah, AI, that's going to be the big one. SAG-AFTRA declared a strike on July 13th against the major TV and film companies, shutting down productions around the globe. Talks with the AMPTP have not resumed. The union has a separate contract with the major video game makers, including Activision and Electronic Arts. The contract was originally due to expire last November, but was extended for a year to allow for further discussions. The talks are due to resume on September 26th. SAG-AFTRA is asking for an 11% retroactive increase in rates for video game performers, followed by increases of 4% and 4%, identical to its asks from the film and TV studios. The union also wants protections from AI, which it says poses a threat to voice and performance capture artists in the video game field. Yeah, there's actually been one way that, like, in a perfect world where we have protections against using AI to steal work from actors, there's actually one really good use case that I can think of for using AI voice in games, and that would be to have characters actually say your character's name. It's usually not possible. I know Fallout 4 actually had like one character who like knew about like 1,000 names. That like it was like a robot who would say your name if it happened to be one of the thousands in the list, and that was pretty cool. But if you had like an AI voice for like everybody who voiced characters in the game, specifically just so that they would say your character's name, I think that would be really cool. But it's very dangerous because it's a situation where they're using AI voice generation to replicate a real actor's voice. And so if you did something like that, it would have to have like such protections in place, like they can't replicate it for any new project, and like the actors have to get like residuals from the game or something like that. Yeah, I would love to. That's one of those things where like I think a lot of people hate AI just overall, but I think AI is a tool, and what you really hate is capitalism. And so in a perfect world, there would be protections against actors being replaced by AI, but that wouldn't mean AI doesn't get used in places where it makes sense to use it. And I think that's a good use case for it. But you would have to have worker protections in place. In a statement, SAG-AFTRA's president, Fran Drescher, blasted the video game companies for their greed and disrespect. Once again, artificial intelligence is putting our members in jeopardy of reducing their opportunity to work, Drescher said. And once again, SAG-AFTRA is standing up to tyranny on behalf of its members. Audrey Cooling, a spokesperson for the video game companies, said they look forward to reaching an agreement. We all want a fair contract that reflects the important contributions of SAG-AFTRA represented performers in an industry that delivers world-class entertainment to billions of players around the world, she said. We are negotiating in good faith and hope to reach a mutually beneficial deal as soon as possible. SAG-AFTRA went on strike against the video game companies in October 2016. The strike lasted 11 months. Yeah, I remember that one. I have an old buddy of mine who works at Blizzard, and when SAG-AFTRA was striking against the video game companies, he was pretty dismissive. I don't think he fully appreciates what unions could do for him. But like once SAG-AFTRA got their demands met with like, I think it was like 4-hour recording days and stuff like that with a lot of breaks, and he's just like, they're asking for so much money for so little work, and I'm just like, wow, dude, sounds like you should probably unionize and get the same deal. This time around, the union is seeking rest periods and safety protections in addition to the wage increases and AI provisions. The union wants an on-set medic for video games, similar to current provisions in TV and film, and a prohibition against stunts during self-taped auditions. Yeah, that one seems reasonable. That's something they have been asking for in the strikes against the entertainment industry. Ballots are due at 5 p.m. on September 25th. The union will also hold informational meetings for affected members during the voting period. So we don't know how this is going to end up. I imagine that it's probably going to see an overwhelming yay vote for strike authorization. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the strike will happen, but it does put them in a better negotiating position against the game industries. And you know who doesn't just make movies, but also makes games? Warner Brothers. And let's take a look at how the strike has impacted Warner Brothers so far. Warner Brothers Discovery says it will take $300 million to $500 million hit in 2023 earnings due to dual WGA SAG-AFTRA strikes. Warner Brothers Discovery expects the ongoing Hollywood strikes to have a $300 to $500 million negative impact on the company's 2023 earnings. In an SEC filing Tuesday, the David Zaslav-led media giant stated it was expecting lower adjusted earnings for the full year between $10.5 to $11 billion, based on the projection that the continuing WGA and SAG-AFTRA work stoppages will mean a hit of $300 to $500 million for the company. The WGA strike began May 2nd after it failed to ink a new deal with the studio's org. The AMPTP, SAG-AFTRA joined them on the picket lines July 14th. While WED is hopeful the these strikes will be resolved soon, it cannot predict when the strikes will ultimately end, Warner Brothers Discovery wrote. With both guilds still on strikes today, the company now assumes the financial impact to WBD of these strikes will persist through the end of 2023. Well, actually, it's pretty easy to predict when the strikes will end. It will end when you guys stop dicking them around and actually come to the table seriously taking their concerns. And I don't know, it sounds like if you're losing $500 million in revenue over the year for what the writers are asking, you could have paid them all of it. You could have paid them what they're asking from everybody in the industry and taken less of a hit than this $300 to $500 million. It seems a little silly. Warner Brothers Discovery released this update on its financials ahead of Zaslav participating in an investor conference Wednesday, during which he is expected to discuss the impact of the dual strikes on the company. Without this new information, the investors and analysts listening to Zaslav's remarks would be working off the most recent financial forecast provided by WBD about the state of its business, which was the Q2 earnings call August 3rd. This is all corpo talk and, just financials. Main thing is the strikes are causing a huge impact on the studios, and the financial hit that they're taking from not coming to the table with a good faith attempt to bargain, it's costing them more money than they would be spending by just giving the guilds everything they're asking for. They've already lost more money than what is being asked for here. And you have to ask yourself, why would they do that? Well, it's because they see the long-term benefits of letting workers continue to be exploited, particularly with AI on the rise. That's why they're fighting so hard, because they don't want you to have money. They want them to have money. David Zaslav wants his third yacht, or however many yachts he's got. Remember, this is the guy who canceled a completed film, Batgirl, just as a tax write-off. This guy doesn't care about you. This guy cares about more money in his pocket and absolutely nothing else. He doesn't care about the entertainment industry. He doesn't care about making good art. He's just here for the money. And he's got $500 million less of it. Now, you'll notice that the two articles that I've been covering in this segment are both from Variety. And I have talked multiple times about how Variety, as well as Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, are all owned by one parent company, Penske Media, which also owns Dick Clark Productions, which is a member of the AMPTP. So they have a financial incentive to see the strikes resolve in the studio's favor, which means that while they're reporting, they're not necessarily going to outright lie about things. It's about what they choose to cover and how they choose to cover it. And I bring all this up because they put out this article the other day. Bill Maher says WGA has no leverage against streamers when on strike at the wrong time. You're not owed a living as a writer. This came out 2 days ago, September 5th. So Bill Maher has a podcast. He had Jim Gaffigan on. I'm not going to go over this whole article, but basically it's just Bill Maher is a crank and a whack job, an anti-vaxxer. I think he signed on to the whole anti-woke thing now. Why does he merit an article? Okay, so he disagrees with the writer's strike and he thinks that they don't have leverage. Who cares what Bill Maher thinks? Why does this merit a whole article? Like, I was going on Variety because I checked several of the trades just to see what news to cover every week. And this is like one of the few things in the section specifically dedicated to strike news. Who cares? It was a comment that he said on a podcast with Jim Gaffigan. Like, who cares? Why is this an article? Because Variety wants the studios to win. So anytime they can find something to cover that will dissuade the rioters and make them think, oh, maybe we should just take the deal that they've given us because we don't have the leverage. Well, they're going to publish it. Bill Maher was asking Riley Gaines about Leah Thomas' genitals. He's discussing that. Yeah, dude absolutely sucks. I don't care what he thinks about anything, and neither should Variety. Just remember, as I am using sources like Variety and Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter to cover all of this news, please keep in mind who they are, what their motivation is. Read things with a critical eye.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.